Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating text by Sui Feng titled The Highest Wisdom is Formless. Look, if you've ever felt just completely drained by the endless treadmill of chasing material things, or if you've ever found yourself wondering where true, lasting power actually comes from, this is going to completely change how you view your everyday life. We're about to explore a profoundly philosophical, yet surprisingly practical framework for understanding reality itself. I'm super excited to guide you through this, so let's jump right in.
I want you to think about something for a second. What makes a 1,000-volt wire so incredibly dangerous? It's kind of a wild paradox when you think about it. You could have a completely dead piece of wire next to a 1,000-volt live wire, and to our eyes, they look exactly the same, right? There's absolutely zero visible difference. The single most powerful thing about that wire, its lethal humming potential, is completely invisible. Sui Feng uses this brilliant metaphor to explain a core truth. The skilled swordsman carries no sword, and the deadly live wire appears completely still. True experts, the people with real power, they don't need to show it off. You know the old saying about the barking dog that never actually bites? Or think about the loudest, most argumentative people online who, at the end of the day, don't really achieve much. The deepest power in the universe doesn't need to flex. Its true strength lies entirely in being formless.
Section 1. Voices of Ancient Masters, a Unified Truth.
Now, you might be thinking this idea of unseen power is just some modern hot take, but it's really not. It's actually a profound chorus that's been echoing across millennia from some of the most influential spiritual teachers in human history. Buddha Shakyamuni, for instance, taught that incomparable giving is vastly superior to giving physical treasures, even if those treasures were as numerous as the sands of the Ganges River. He recognized that formless generosity, things like giving love, compassion, and unseen grace, completely outshines any physical, countable wealth you could ever try to stack up.
And this lines up perfectly with the teachings of Christ Jesus, who said, "Blessed are those who store treasures in heaven, for their reward in heaven is great." He was making a direct call to value the unseen purity of a gentle, compassionate heart over any earthly, physical possessions. Because, let's face it, the physical world rusts, it breaks, it fades. But that formless treasure, that is eternal.
We see the exact same thread in Taoism. Laozi put it so elegantly when he said, "By the non-existence of things, we are served. The good traveler leaves no tracks." True mastery doesn't leave a heavy, physical footprint. The greatest functionality actually comes from the empty space, the non-existent, the completely unseen.
Section 2. Trapped in the form, the illusion of the seen.
But here's the catch. Despite all this ancient wisdom, just look at our modern world. We are living in this massive illusion of the seen, just frantically obsessed with visible material stuff. We exhaust ourselves decorating our bedrooms perfectly, packaging ourselves in name brands, getting the exact right hairstyle, all to project this deep, profound image to everyone else. But Sui Feng argues for a total shift in perspective. Instead of burning yourself out building this outward facade, what if you focused on refining and adorning your heart? Remember, the highest wisdom is formless.
We literally see this frantic energy everywhere. People rushing from one famous landmark to the next, exhausting themselves traveling to distant mountains, or even dreaming of spending billions to visit the barren rock of the moon. Why are we running around so frantically? Sui Feng counters this by saying that the most breathtaking scenery you will ever experience is actually found right inside your own consciousness. Exploring your thoughts and your inner landscape is vastly superior to physically dragging your tired body across the globe.
Section 3. Cultivating the inner landscape, where true power resides.
So, how does this formless philosophy actually apply to the nitty-gritty of our everyday lives? Let's take parenting as an example. It is so easy to fall into the trap of forcing kids into piano lessons, painting classes, and martial arts. We meticulously dress them up, and we absolutely wear ourselves out stressing over their degrees, their future status, who they'll marry. But the formless approach, it's simply helping children develop kind, loving, and true hearts. It completely reframes the picture: outward parental anxiety versus inward character building.
And we honestly do the exact same thing with our spiritual lives. We constantly seek external fixes. We try to set up the perfect feng shui in our houses, we build these massive grand temples, we make physical sacrifices, or look for the most auspicious grounds for graves. But Sui Feng asks a great question. Why go to all that external trouble? Just cultivate your own heart as an auspicious place. A good heart naturally creates good feng shui. A bad heart creates poor feng shui. The Buddha resides within the heart, not in some physical building made of stone and wood.
You have to let yourself become a Buddha from the inside out.
Section 4. The 4 Levels of Wisdom, and a sec.
Sui Feng breaks human operation down into a really clear, structured hierarchy of wisdom, moving from a trapped physical state all the way up to an ultimate ascent. At the very bottom, you have lesser wisdom. This is being entirely trapped by form. These are the folks constantly busy planning rigid systems. Step up a bit, and you hit middle wisdom, which is caught up in the endless busyness of refining rules and regulations. Then comes greater wisdom, which focuses on spiritual civilization. Now, to an outsider, this might actually seem foolish, but it's a massive step up. And finally, at the very peak, the highest wisdom. It roams completely freely in the spiritual world. It flows effortlessly precisely because it is totally formless.
Now, why is relying on the seen form such a brutal trap for those lower levels of wisdom? Well, just think about the sheer, chaotic unpredictability of physical life. It's wild. People are born naturally beautiful, or they aren't. They're born into massive generational wealth, or they're left struggling out in a freezing cold. Someone might get world famous off one lucky pop song, while brilliant scientists labor in obscurity in labs for decades. Some live long, peaceful lives, others die tragically young. The physical world is inherently chaotic, unpredictable, and honestly, deeply unfair.
So this brings us to the absolute core of the argument. The power of the Tao is infinite, and the power of the law is boundless, yet we cannot see it because it is formless. The ultimate, undeniable governing force operating behind all this messy physical chaos is entirely invisible. You simply cannot rely on the form. You have to align yourself with the formless.
True wealth is within, the final realization.
This brings us to the ultimate conclusion of our journey today. The Prophet Muhammad really hit the nail on the head when he said true wealth is found within the soul. Think about people you know. You've probably met people who have endless food, massive closets full of clothes, and yet they walk around frowning all day long. And then there are others who might have just a tiny patch of dirt to their name, but they smile constantly. That richness in the soul, it can't be touched, it definitely can't be bought, and it absolutely cannot be seen.
At the very end of his text, Sui Feng beautifully brings this high-level, abstract philosophy right back down to earth. He paints this picture of simply eating a pancake, munching on a handful of sunflower seeds, drinking a cup of clear tea, and writing. From that quiet, completely unseen inner space, he is strategizing from within. He's able to take in the absolute, breathtaking beauty of the entire world without needing to move a single inch. And I love this. He even throws in this delightfully quirky, whimsical image to wrap things up. Celestial beings in the heavens cast flirtatious autumn glances. How enchanting! Deiform celestial. It just goes to show that achieving the highest wisdom doesn't mean you suddenly become stiff, serious, or boring. When you learn to roam freely in the formless world of the spirit, life actually becomes incredibly warm, joyful, and just totally enchanting. Which leaves us with one final, provocative question for you to ponder today. In your own day-to-day life, are you endlessly chasing the exhausting visible form, or are you taking the time to cultivate the limitless formless? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope you take a little time today to explore your own inner landscape. You might be really surprised at the kind of power you find there.